Welcome to Minds Behind Design, where we invite architects and designers alike into our studio to discuss the thoughts that go through their minds when approaching the design of a building, where they look for inspiration and how material choice plays an integral role in the design. On today's episode of Minds Behind Design, Shay Alster from GF55 Architects, a New York City-based architectural firm, joins us. Shay, welcome. We're so glad to have you here.
Thank you for having me. Pleasure to be here.
So I'd like to start out by asking you to introduce yourself and tell us a bit about your firm and what you do.
Sure. My name is Shay Alster. I am the managing partner of GF55 Architects here in New York City. We specialize in building and designing multi-family residential buildings. Some of them are mixed use. Some of them have other components into them, and we really focus on different projects with different characteristics, whether they're community facilities, serving the communities that we build in, as well as other buildings that include different commercial and manufacturing aspects to them.
Fantastic. And tell me a bit about your firm. You've got, how many staff do you have in your team here in New York?
So at the moment we are 48 people, located all in New York City. Mm-hmm.
Well, looking forward to having a chat today. We're going to talk about one of your recent projects, the Rennie. Can you start by telling us a little bit about when that project came about and what was involved?
Sure. So the project really started a long time ago, even before we were on the team. I mean, the project, the location of the site is where the Harlem Renaissance, building used to sit. It used to be a big ballroom that really was the first African-American ballroom that was owned by African-Americans, but was also a place where African Americans could meet, and it was almost the only upscaled place where African Americans could really get together and have big events, flashy events, some of the sports events, and many other activities for the local community. We joined the project later on after it went through many hoops. The site itself was sold to the Abyssinian Development Corporation in 1991, and that's where really they tried to figure out how they could potentially revive the existing building. However, after pretty much many investigations that were done on the existing building, it was determined that the building cannot really be salvaged. The deterioration of the building was immense, and it really wasn't an option to salvage anything.
So it's located in the Harlem neighborhood here in New York City? It's
located in Harlem on between 137th Street to 138th Street on Adam Clayton Powell Jr. Boulevard. It's really fronting on the entire block front. And it provides really the community a new modern building with references to some old architecture, and recalls. It recalled the architecture of the existing building that used to stand there, and it really ties into our way of how we design buildings at GF55, and the process of design. We try to, I would say, reference our design to some old existing buildings in the neighborhood. We as architects, we believe we have to be good listeners and observers, and we try to bring all of those together, all of those ideas of what is there now and what we come up in the future with, that landscape that is already there. And as we progressed with the design of the building, we listened to the community, and the community really wanted to have something that recalls the old building. They understood the building cannot be salvaged, cannot be renovated or restored, and they really liked the idea of having brick included in that new modern building. And that was the effort here. We really tried to include something that is earthy, that has a human scale to it, that has the same feel as one walks along the walkway against the building, and get the same feel on the at least first 2 or 3 stories. And I believe that we were successful in doing it. We borrowed some textures, we borrowed some ideas about brick arrangements on the facade, And it really recalled, if you look at the old pictures of the old building, some of those arrangements, some of these colors, some of these local and personal feel of the site itself.
Okay, so tell me a bit about the process of trying to find the right material to have that familiarity for the community when they're walking past, and it feels like the old space but in a new way. How did you go about selecting the material?
So we really looked at some materials that could work together both on the modern side, but also, get some ideas of what would bring and kind of elevate feelings of the old buildings. We looked right away at brick because, that was the natural way where we wanted to go with. The existing building, had a lot of brick color, earthy tones to it, and we looked to include that. It was a challenge to, marry it with the new building materials, such as, large surfaces of metal panels and how to detail those and how to make everything work. We really cared about how those brick arrangements and tones are going to feel, especially on the lower level of the building. But we carried it through and we tried to really combine and integrate those two systems together of metal panels and brick, and I think it was pretty successful.
What I love about the Rennie is there's this beautiful brick patterning detail that you have in some bands, particularly at the lower levels where the streetscape's interacting with the materiality. How did you go about designing the pattern in that brickwork? Was it a reference to a historical detail on the building, or was it something that you've seen in the area, or a combination of both, or something new you came up with?
So yeah, we kind of tried to first of all collect as much information as we could about the building that was there before it was demolished. We also scattered the area and took some photos of existing buildings in the area, and it's a lot of trials and errors that you go through, and you try to figure out what looks better, what would fit better, and at the end of the day, you really need to make decisions. We considered, today's sidewalks along New York streets and figured out, do we carry the brick all the way down to the sidewalk, or do we really break it and have it more durable with some sort of a stone at the base? And we decided to carry it through all the way down to the, to the sidewalk the way the original building did. And it really helps that feel as you walk along the street against the building and get that, personal close feel of the building. Other than that, we have many other brick buildings that we built in the past. So it's okay also to borrow, some ideas from past projects, bring them into this project, borrow even, great design ideas from other projects that are not ours, that just can work as well, on such a building. And so it's a lot of, a mix of ideas and from different resources that we brought here.
Shay, tell me about your goals when designing this building.
So we had quite a few goals and challenges in designing the building. One of the goals were to really marry the old with the new. The historical, building that used to stand there together with the new modern building. But there are other goals as well, goals that really had to do with the community and what the community is looking to get built there. So, a big portion of the building is really a community facility that includes, another nice fellowship hall where events are taking place in. We have a big commercial space in the building. But one major component is affordable housing, which is really important to us. It's important to the community, it's important to the developer, and it's important to the city of New York.
Absolutely.
And so we really try to create that balance between high, luxurious building that really speaks to what people like and the way people like to live these days, with all the high-end amenities and the interiors of the units. But it really brought in, the idea of how do we look for materials that makes you feel at home, makes you feel like it's not just a brand new building that you walk into, but it has reference to the old and existing, neighborhood. So these were some of the challenges. Other challenges had to do with how do we really get to build a large building that has both a community facility and a residential building that has to be, different from each other. And we managed to differentiate the community facility structure that belongs to the Abyssinian Church from the residential building. And we did it with different cementatious materials applied to the facade of the community facility building. It included the stone-like material and precast stone. And it married it really well together with the brick, the earthy color of the brick, the metal panels colors that we selected, and even the metal panels at the rear of the building are imitating, in a way, some of the brick bands. So it was a big kind of a challenge to put all of those together and present it to the community to have them accept, what is now, the new child on the block.
We have two colors in this project, the Genesee and the 200 Flash. So how did you go about selecting the colors and the textures, and how important was that for your project?
So first of all, selecting a brick, which is, a brick is something is really that you can hold in your hand, and it really speaks to the human scale. It's something that is very personal. Anybody can lay out a brick. It's not a huge piece of metal panel that you need a crew to put on. And we felt that we want to have a roughness to it, the same way that brick has. It's really kind of an earthy tone that the original building, if you look at the colors of the brick, used to have. And we really tried different type of tones and colors to it. So, I think that putting them together gave us a feel of a nice mixture of colors and earth tones that really belonged there. So that's how we worked on it.
What I thought was remarkable, I remember you showing me some images of the ballroom that was previously on the site compared to how the site looks today. There's this beautiful continuity in the look and feel with the material. Even though the building has changed, it really feels like it has the same heart and spirit to what was there originally. Right.
And the feedback that we got from the community, which had a lot of resistance at the beginning, was really great once the building was completed. Because, they really felt like, they were really worried about what's going to happen on this large site in Harlem. And suddenly they see that it's actually not as bad as they thought it would be. I mean, we really carried through the brick all the way up the building, and we managed to have the very first 3 stories just with brick, and it really recalled the some of the patterns, some of the suggested arrangements of brick. It recalled the original building, like the diamonds on the wall, like the band over the first story. We just didn't take the one type or texture or arrangement from the original building. We went further another step or two and developed it into something that is more detailed, something that is, that gives you a little bit more than what was there before.
So tell me a bit about the environmental performance of the building.
So the site itself was environmentally had to be cleaned first, and we went through a lot of hoops and challenges to clean it up. But the building itself now that is built there includes high efficiency boilers. It includes all of the green elements and equipment that such a new building would have today. It has all of in order to minimize the effect of heat loss and make sure that we have green elements inside the building, not just in the utility rooms, but inside the building itself. Was very important to the neighborhood, to the developer himself, and for us, we're looking into building more housing that are environmentally, responsible, and we include that in all of our buildings today. Just trying to do it better and better, and hoping to move into passive housing in the next couple of years.
Shay, thank you so much for coming in today. It's been wonderful having you here in our New York studio, hearing about your project.
Thank you. It was a pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much, and hopefully we'll see you back here soon to hear about your next one.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it.
Great, great.
Thank you.